If you had told me 5 years ago that I would be standing here teaching you guys a message today, I would not have believed you. In fact, I would have laughed at you. I have always been an introvert, very on the quiet side and kind of shy. Over time, though, I've worked hard to grow and learn ways to come out of my shell, which is how I got to the point that I can stand here today. I've come a long way, but like I said, I started out so shy. I preferred to keep to myself and stay very quiet, and as a kid especially, talking to adults in particular made me very nervous, even if I knew them. And as you can imagine, or you might even know from experience, this was quite an inconvenience for me because as a kid, there are plenty of times that you need to talk to an adult. For example, when I was 8, I joined my cousin and my uncle on a 4-hour drive to visit more of our family who lived out of state. Imagine 4 hours of feeling so shy that you just sit in the back seat, not talking. I don't know how I did it. But now imagine 4 hours sitting in the back seat, not talking, but in the direct line of every AC vent in the car. Now, it was summertime, it was a hot day, but the AC, it was on full blast. My cousin, she was in the passenger seat, and my uncle, he was driving, but me, I was in the back seat, feeling every bit of freezing air a person could possibly endure. And to my horror, I found myself absolutely freezing cold and too shy to say something about it. I quickly accepted my fate. I was going to die of hypothermia in the back seat before we even reached the end of our drive. And as I sat there shivering, planning my funeral, my cousin, she looked back at me from the passenger seat and she said the most beautiful words I'd ever heard. "Hey, are you cold?" The relief I felt in the moment was unreal, and I nodded my head aggressively and whispered, "Yes." And she immediately turned the air down, and because of that, I lived to tell you guys about it. She saved me. But my cousin, she saw the need, and she saw my shivering too, probably, and she helped me. My uncle, he probably wouldn't have thought to ask, and I wouldn't have spoken up. But my cousin, she saw me, and she saw what I needed, and she did something about it. It's a special skill to be able to see when someone has a need, and also to be able to do something about it. And we're going to talk more about that today and see what it can look like to say, "After you." We're starting a new series today called After You, and it's restaurant themed if you couldn't tell. Restaurants are a great example of a place with people who are skilled at seeing a need and doing something about it. From the moment you walk into a restaurant, they serve you. A host greets you and seats you, a waiter or a waitress serves you, and a cook cooks for you. Everything you ask for, or maybe even don't ask for, they do for you. The point is, they see the needs of their customers and they act. This week, we're going to take a look at how that very same concept, food and all, can be found in the Bible. The skill of seeing someone's need and doing something about it is something that Jesus actually did super well. So let me ask you guys a question. Jesus taught during his time on earth, but have you ever thought about the fact that the people listening to Jesus teach, that they might get hungry? Like when you sit in class and you're just waiting for the lunch bell to ring. I used to sit in my geometry class and I would just stare at the clock on the wall, waiting for lunch. So it makes sense that it could happen in biblical times too. And it turns out that it did. There's a place in the Bible that actually talks about this happening. Out of all of the people listening to Jesus teach, though, his closest friends actually got hungry first. We can see it here. The apostles, who were Jesus' closest friends, they gathered around Jesus and they told him all that they had done and taught. But many people were coming and going, so they did not even have a chance to eat. Then Jesus said to his apostles, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place. You need to get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a quiet place. So like we talked about earlier, Jesus saw what his friends needed, and he helped them. He recognized how much work that they had done that day and that they had been so busy, and he recognized that they were hungry. So he invited them to go ride a boat over to a quiet place to get the rest and the food that they needed. But there's a plot twist, because when they got to the quiet place to rest and eat, many people who saw them leaving recognized them, and they ran from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus came ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he felt deep concern for them. So he began teaching them many things. Jesus, being Jesus, cared so much about the people who came in these massive crowds to see him that it says that Jesus felt deep concern, or another translation says that he felt compassion for them. Jesus cared so much for them that he saw their need, the need to be taught, so he taught them. But the disciples, on the other hand, they had passed hungry at this point, and now they were hangry, and rightfully so. They didn't get to have their quiet place to eat as planned, and I can understand that that's frustrating, so they said something about it. By that time, it was late in the day, and his disciples came to Jesus. They said, "There is nothing here to eat. It's already very late. Send the people away. Then they can go to the nearby countryside and villages to buy something to eat." But Jesus answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take more than half a year's pay. Should we go and spend that much on bread? Are we supposed to feed them?" The disciples, you guys, they were hungry, and they just wanted a place to eat and rest. And now the whole massive crowd around them felt that way too. They suggested that Jesus send the people to a nearby town so they could just find something to eat for themselves and just go home, which that's not an unreasonable suggestion. But again, Jesus noticed what the crowd needed, and he had a different response. He asked the disciples to help him feed the crowd right then and there instead. And the disciples, they asked very valid questions in response, like, how? How on earth could they afford that much food, and where on earth would they even find it? Because did I mention that in this massive crowd, there were 5,000 men? 5,000 men. That's not counting the women and children also there. So there were well over 5,000 people total in this crowd. And Jesus asked the disciples to help him feed these people. That is a huge number, and it's a huge ask. Yet, Jesus gave clear instructions on how they could do it. And the disciples, they trusted and followed. Jesus instructed them to see if they could find any food at all among the crowd, and they did find some food. They asked around, and they found exactly 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. But that's the thing. That is not nearly enough food for 5,000 people. But Jesus said that 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, he said it was enough. And he continued to instruct the disciples who, though hangry, continued to trust him. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of 100s and 50s. And Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and he looked up to heaven, he gave thanks, and he broke the loaves into pieces. Then he gave them to his disciples to pass around to the people, the 5,000 people, and he also divided the 2 fish among them all. All of them ate and were satisfied. The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. Jesus performed a miracle. It should not have been possible, but he did it. And you and I, we get to read about it together thousands of years later, and it is so cool. And you guys, Jesus used people just like you and me to do it. Jesus instructed the disciples on what to do, and they did it. They were a huge part of the miracle, but they're just like you and me. I mean, remember they were hangry? And I don't know about you, but I definitely can get hangry. Guys, they were just people like us, like you and me, and Jesus used them. He challenged them to have compassion and serve the crowd by meeting their needs. And through this moment, the disciples became part of a bigger miracle, reminding us that Jesus shows you and me that we can do this too by noticing others' needs. Jesus didn't see the crowd as an inconvenience or another task to add to his busy day. No, instead, he noticed their needs because he cared about them. Jesus showed us an incredible life skill here. When we interact with people, it's important to actually see them and pay attention. If a need is revealed, consider if you could be the one to address it. Like how my cousin paid attention to me in the story I shared with you guys earlier. She saw me and she noticed that she could help me in that situation. And you guys, you can do that too. If there's someone that's new to students, you can welcome them. Tell them that you're glad that they're here. Their need might just be to feel welcome and included, and that's something that you can do. And it's not just here at students that you can do this. You can do it everywhere by simply looking around you. Look around. Be intentional about noticing the people around you. If we only look at our own lives, we miss out what is happening around us. Restaurant servers notice what's going on at more than one table at a time, and they look around and they see what each table needs. They remember to fulfill each order, and as you look around in the same way, adjust what you're looking for and what you're looking at. You can also ask questions. You can notice a need, but even if you're not sure how you can meet it, just ask. Ask how you can offer support and be a friend to someone experiencing loneliness or hopelessness. Ask how you can serve at church or at a local organization. Even at home, you can ask your family members if there's ways that you could support them. We're surrounded by people who have real and tangible needs, and we're better equipped to meet those needs than we might think. We only need to ask. And when we ask what someone needs and then they share honestly, we must listen well. When someone talks to you, look them in the eye. Really listen to what they're saying. Ask follow-up questions to make sure that you're understanding what they're saying. When we listen well, we show that we're fully present and hearing what someone needs. And we're doing exactly what Jesus did when he fed people. We're noticing a need and being a good friend to remember it. And also, think about how often Jesus taught people, you guys. Teaching people was his normal. That was what he did every day. And the day that he fed the 5,000 people, it was just another day for him. But that day, he chose to stop and he chose to see the specific people around him's needs. And he did something. God does dramatic work within very normal circumstances. And he can do it in our normal too. School, work, home, God meets us where we are and he works with what we have. And hey, God does not have a list or something that we need to accomplish before we can help others. Not at all. Instead, God uses us right here and right now to meet the needs of the people around us. You don't need to wait for perfect circumstances to notice other people in the world around you. Also, we're not required to be perfect people to help. We simply just need to pay attention to people and be willing to do our part to help others when we can. You can be a part of the bigger miracle that God is cooking up for the people around you. Jesus saw the needs of others and he did something about it. He met them, he helped them, and he had compassion for them. And you can too.